Today I am breaking down exactly how to start a successful Depop shop. Whether you want to make a little bit of extra cash or you're looking to go full on reseller mode, hopefully this step-by-step guide will help you out. We're going to be talking sourcing, photos, pricing, listing hacks, and I'm going to finish on a bonus tip that is going to help maximize your sales. So if I was going to start a Depop shop again today, here are the next 5 steps that I would take. I'm going to assume that you already have a Depop account, a name, and a logo, because that is really the first step. If you don't have these sorted, then I wouldn't spend too much time thinking about them, as you can change your name and your logo photo easily later on. After you have your Depop account set up, your next job is to stock it. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend jumping into wholesale. It can get pretty pricey, and spending a big chunk of money is definitely a risk, especially if you don't know what's going to sell well for you yet. Instead, start by going through your own wardrobe. Then I would look to source items from jumble sales, car boots, charity shops. Nextdoor, eBay, and Facebook Marketplace are great places to look for cheap job lots. You're going to want to get around 40 items on your shop to really get it going. My overall advice for this is to try and source these first 40 items cheaply. If you're not sure on what items to buy, then a good rule of thumb is to think about what you like and what you would buy on Depop. Also, it's a good idea to check out some of the bigger Depop shops and see what items they are selling and what sort of brands they are selling. You can see what items have actually sold in their reviews, and you might be able to spot a pattern as to what is selling well for them. Here's a little bit of inspo if you need it. Here are some popular niches on Depop, and here are some popular brands that sell well on Depop at the minute. Step 2, take good photos. Getting good at Depop photos is a really key piece in growing a successful Depop shop. And the secret behind getting good photos is getting good lighting. Doesn't matter if you've got the best model or you have the most desirable item, if you've got bad lighting, your listings are going to struggle to sell. Box lights are going to be what you want eventually, but at the beginning I would just use natural light. You're going to want to find a plain background, ideally a white wall next to a window, and I would use a phone to take your Depop photos. For my shop, I actually use a bedsheet at the minute that I have pinned to my wall. So that's a super budget-friendly way to create a backdrop. I find that white backdrops make your items pop more and give a really nice clean look to your Depop feed. My number 1 tip with your photos is not to overthink it when you're starting out. Flat lays, hanger shots, modeled photos, they all work as long as the lighting is good. Step 3, writing your listings. This part is all about helping your listing show up in the search and giving the buyer all the information they need to hit that buy button. Here's the structure I would recommend for your listing description. The first line is going to be your title. You're going to want to keep this short and descriptive. Think color, brand, style. This first line is what Depop uses to figure out what you're selling so they can put it in front of the right people. So all the words here should be keywords that a potential buyer might be typing into the search bar. In the next part, which is the middle section of the listing, you're going to want to include all the details about the item that the shopper isn't going to know from just looking at the photos. So what is the condition of the item? Are there any flaws? What are the measurements? What's the material? What's the size? And try and answer all the questions that you think a buyer might ask. And finally, at the bottom of the listing, you're going to include 5 hashtags. These, again, are keywords that a potential buyer might be searching for. It's best not to be too broad here. So, for example, the hashtag Y2K. There's going to be a lot of listings that have the hashtag Y2K, so you're better off going for something a bit more specific. Step 4, timing your posts. When it comes to posting your listings on Depop, I have found that timing and consistency are key. Here's how to strategically spread out your listings to maximize visibility and sales. Post gradually and not all at once. Let's say you've sourced, photographed, and created 40 listings. Instead of posting all of these at once, you're going to want to spread these out. For example, if you plan to list 40 items a month, which is a really great goal if you're starting out, you're going to want to spread those listings out throughout the month. So you're going to want to be posting 10 items a week, which is about 1 to 2 items a day. This strategy keeps your shop active throughout the month and ensures that Depop's algorithm continuously pushes your listings in front of fresh eyes. Every new listing that you upload will create visibility for your shop, bringing more traffic and boosting your chances of making a sale. Use drafts to stay organized. I would recommend preparing all your listings in one go, so writing the description, uploading your photo, setting the pricing, and then saving in drafts. From there, you can post them gradually without having to start from scratch every day. This makes staying consistent a lot easier. Even when you're really busy, you can quickly go on Depop and publish a draft. It also gives you more flexibility to post at high traffic times. For example, you might want to list your drafts on a weekday morning, but if you publish these on a Sunday evening when more people are on the app, then they're more likely to sell. And by doing this, you don't have to give up time on a Sunday evening to create listings. I found that evenings, so Sunday evenings and Monday evenings, are the best time to post items on Depop, and I think that's because that's the time when the app has the most amount of people on it. Step 5, staying active. Being active on Depop is the final piece in the puzzle in getting those initial sales. The more active you are on the app, the more visible your shop becomes to potential buyers. Here's how I would stay active to make the most out of the app. The first thing is to send offers. If someone likes an item, I would make sure to send them offer and knock off several pounds off the price. When buyers send offers, make sure to either send a counter offer, accept the offer, or reject the offer. You can actually counter and put the same price that it was set to originally. Depop gives you 24 hours to respond to offers, so it's a good idea to check the app every day to stay on top of these. Responding to offers, sending counter offers is a great way to nudge buyers to check out. The final part of being active on the app is to network with other users. Especially when you're starting out, being active in the Depop community is a great way to grow your following and bring attention to your shop. You can do this by liking other items and following other shops, especially if they're a similar style to yours. These other shops might follow you back, and this brings more attention to your shop. Bonus tip, list to multiple platforms. Okay, my bonus tip is to not limit yourself to Depop. I would really recommend listing on other platforms like Vinted and Etsy. Different apps have different audiences. For example, Etsy is really good at getting international sales, whereas Vinted is UK based but has a really big broad audience. So by putting your listings on different apps, you're going to be putting your items in front of a wider group of people. You're going to be increasing the chance that that item sells. Just remember though, if something sells on one app, make sure to delete it on the other apps because you do not want to be selling items twice. There are cross-listing tools out there to help manage this, but as a beginner, I would just do this manually. If you've been hesitant to start a Depop shop, then my advice would be just to go for it. Your first photos and your first shop feed is probably not going to be its best, but you just need to get started to get going. If you found this helpful, then be sure to check these out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.